District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Sheriff Todd Baxter. My name is Christopher Chichester. I've never committed a crime. This is the Freedom of Information Law. This is the document I'm using upon you with my relentless determination to remove you each from office for abridging my civil and constitutional rights with your fanaticism. As I've detailed on every YouTube I've made, which I will send to the United States Department of Justice at the appropriate time. You are again going to refuse to comply with the law, and you use either this document or a document that is similar to this one to demand information, and you better acquire that information. Or else, for the innocent citizens you're targeting, you concoct crimes for innocent citizens. Sheriff Todd Baxter. And the validation that you, Sheriff Todd Baxter, concoct crimes for an innocent citizen such as me is that Sandra Doorley's assistant district attorney didn't talk in the nauseating Star Chamber of Penfield Town Court. What's her name, Sandra Doorley? The first time before John P. Lomenzo Jr., and the second time the mail before bald-headed wig-wearing Paul C. Messler. You won't even tell me the names of your taxpayer-subsidized employees that stand there in total silence. That's a confirmation of your corruption, Sandra Doorley. Where's your heart? Where's your soul? Where's your character? Where's your decency? You went bankrupt. And this is going to, again, prove it. Because you're going to refuse to comply with every single one. Illicit. Not legally permitted, unlawful, disapproved of, or not permitted for moral or unethical reasons. You have no morality, you have no ethics, you have no heart, you have no decency, you're nothing. And so are your employees. When I say you're nothing, the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley, stood there in total silence. What did these two individuals do when they went back to your office and didn't talk as I'm delivered to jail? So, Freedom of Information Law. My name is Christopher Chichester. I have never committed a crime. The internal disciplinary records of documentation for employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter. That Sheriff Todd K. Baxter is reprimanded, terminated, disciplinary employment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Fire $67,000 a year, Shannon Meyer. Fire $79,000 a year, Andrew Reale. And fire $85,000 a year, Don Benedetto, hiding in the bushes across my residence on August 30th, 2020 to concoct the crime for me. How ludicrous does that sound? I'm charged with arrest and second by Andrew Reale, sitting in the backseat of your vehicle. I'm charged with criminal contempt just for being outside for 30 seconds to tell a man on his tracks from Broccoli Tree and Lawn Care that nobody owns that land. This is not a crime for me to go outside and tell a man on his track that nobody owns the land. I'm not harassing anyone sitting in the backseat of Andrew Reale's police vehicle as my head has been snapped back. I'm not committing a felony on my back porch after Don Benedetto and your other psychopaths hit on the private property of my neighbor, which I've detailed repeatedly. Fire Andrew Reale, fire Shannon Meyer, and fire Don Benedetto. And you won't, because you're the blue wall of Todd Baxter. You're the blue wall of silence. Do you understand what the blue wall of silence is? Sheriff Todd Baxter doesn't know if he's a Republican or a Democrat, because it's been in law enforcement for at least 40 plus years. And I first became aware of it because of Frank Serpico. Freedom of Information Law. The internal disciplinary record of documentation for employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. That District Attorney Sandra Doorley is disciplined, terminated, reprimanded, and employed at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. Should you fire an assistant district attorney supported by the taxpayers of Monroe County and New York who doesn't talk as an innocent citizen is delivered to jail? The answer is yes. The answer from you, Queen of New York, King of New York, gay number one, Sandra Doorley, is no. And when I'm demanding their names, you're still going to say no. I will demand, I'm telling you right now, the final Freedom of Information Law documents are going to demand their names, click reply, send it to the email, send it to my home address, send me their names, and you will refuse. King of New York, gay number one, Sandra Doorley, you will refuse every single time. Your entire existence is tax dollars. What are you paid? I want to take the payroll that Lee LaRoe didn't take out of my residence. Your $91,000 criminal in here with a legal search and seizure. You, Paul Metz, type that search warrant that's not a search warrant. Penfield Town Court handed it to Leo LaRoque, and this psychopath gets in here and exits with my Chromebook because you go into search history on my Chromebook and you're reading my emails because you want to concoct a crime for me. You want the lunatic fringe, you're the sick lunatic fringe. Paula Metzler, you're the sick lunatic fringe. Todd Baxter, you're the sick lunatic fringe. Sandra Doorley, and you each need to be removed from office, which is what I'm in the process of attempting to achieve. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter. What's not to understand, you bald-headed criminal? This is your re-election defeat right here. Your six-figure cops alone will defeat you. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office of District Attorney Sandra Doorley. What do you do at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Mark Monahan, for $123,817? Is that you who stood in Penfield Town Court before Paula Metzler didn't talk? What do you do at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Julie Hahn, for $117,798? Was that you who stood in Penfield Town Court before John P. Lomenzo the first time he didn't talk? Got a prosecutor doesn't talk before John P. Lomenzo Jr. Prosecutors doesn't talk for Paul C. Metzler, and you're refusing to tell me their names. Your entire existence is tax dollars. Welcome to your re-election defeat. King of New York, game number one, Sandra Doorley. Cost of overtime, time and a half, or well paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monmouth County Sheriff's Office, Todd K. Baxter. When your employees, you bald-headed stooge, work the 41st hour to the 50th hour, the 50th hour to the 60th hour, how do you pay your public employees? I believe that your employees, when they reach the 41st hour, which constitutes overtime, will drive around in their vehicles on purpose. And if you pay those employees a wage or a salary that's higher, then they're doing it on purpose. I've seen lists of public employees when I worked in Albany, top 50 state employees in the agencies, making six figures. This is a long time ago, 20 years ago. And they were making $100,000 or more with overtime. How many of your employees, because not everyone makes $100,000. Just on this one page, I'll just open it. This is my favorite page. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on here make $100,000 or more. But if you have on this page here is Christy L. Katner. Christy L. Katner's paid $79,088. Are you, Christy L. Katner, paid $79,088 and that's it? Or are you paid more money with overtime? Do you, Christy L. Katner, reach $100,000 with overtime? How's that done? You bald-headed criminal, Todd Baxter at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. You won't answer me, but when I contact the controller, it's going to be one of the 500 plus, 1,000 plus questions I have for him when I'm demanding you be audited. And when you're audited, I'm confident unethical practices will be discovered and perhaps criminal practices. Freedom of Information Law, total cost of overtime, time and a half, well paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monmouth County District Attorney's Office, Sandra Doorley. How's that done? Sandra Doorley, when your suit-wearing desk jockeys reach the 41st hour and work to a 50th hour and then work to a 68th hour, how do you pay your suit-wearing desk jockeys? Do you $108,338 suit-wearing desk jockey Amanda Balling earned $108,338 24/7? Is that your final salary? Do you suit-wearing desk jockey Maxwell Cohen, that's a movie star named Maxwell, earn $72,715 24/7, or do you earn more money? Do you movie star named Maxwell Cohen achieve $100,000? So are you, Maxwell, paid $72,715, and then you get an extra $28,000 because of overtime, time and a half, that 41st hour. How are you paid, Maxwell? How does that function at the district attorney's office of party switching Sandra Doorley? What do you think of her at the district attorney's office? She'll say anything. That's why she's a party switcher. Cost of taxpayers for Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter suspended taxpayer dollars on employment-related discrimination lawsuits fair to apply with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Payroll for the Monroe County Sheriff's Office is Rael Ashley, $73,711. Are you Ray L. Ashley being sexually harassed at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter? I hope you're not. Do you, Ray L., understand what constitutes sexual harassment? Are you being asked out on a date over and over and over, Ray L., by one of your employees at the Sheriff's Office? The answer is no. Does a male employee at the Sheriff's Office, Ray L., have their hands on you? Are you receiving these disgusting emails with these misogynistic jokes from your fellow employees, Ray L., at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? What's the environment, Ray L., at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Does the environment at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office respect your dignity? Do the male employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office respect your humanity? I hope you're not being sexually harassed at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter, Ray L. Freedom of Information Law. The cost of taxpayers of Monroe County District Attorney Sandra expended taxpayer dollars on employment-related discrimination lawsuits fair to apply with Title VII Civil Rights Act of 1964. The most important law in the 20th century, among the most important law of the 20th century. Victoria Karninsky, $64,840. Are you Victoria Karninsky at the Monroe District Attorney's Office of Sandra Doorley being sexually harassed? I hope you're not. When you walk into the office, Victoria, do you have an expectation that throughout the day, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, that's an environment, that's a professional environment that will respect your dignity and humanity, your character, your decency, your ethics? How would you describe that, Victoria Karninsky? Do you enjoy working at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office? Do you believe that Sandra Doorley creates a climate where every single employee can perform the responsibilities of the job free from sexual harassment? Lie to me, Todd Baxter. Tell the best lie possible. Even though I've already seen the images now, I want you to send me documentation to my house that says you put the surveillance device on 2025 Penfield Road for me, because I'm going to write it to you. I'm going to write it from you to me, and I'm going to demand that you sign it, admitting that you did this to me, admitting that you bought this camera from me, you bald-headed stooge. This is your surveillance device. This is 1984 right here. That's your bald head of 1984. I'm going to point to this. The cost of a surveillance device purchased taxpayer dollars by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter and fixed to a building in 2025 Penfield Road to monitor Christopher Chichester, 26 Sanders Farm Drive, walks through the parking lot next to the building. I'm walking through this parking lot for the 4,000th time, and a psychopath named Rashad is in his car up here. A 50-year-old man living with his mother. He has no life. Each of these two have no life. That's why they're running off to you about me walking through this parking lot. I've walked through 4,000 times. My dentist, Dr. Gloria Nichols, was in that building. You never heard my name because Dr. Nichols would see people walking through this parking lot all day long. The accusatory instrument for me is Shannon Myers. Sebin says walking through the parking lot. After the fireworks at Harris Whalen Park, there were people walking through this parking lot all day long before the event, including Penfield High School band students. It's a crime to walk through this parking lot. How can you need to arrest a Penfield High School band student? What would the mothers and fathers think of your bald head, Todd Baxter, if you arrested a Penfield High School band student for walking through this parking lot? If it's a crime to walk through this parking lot, every single person who walks through it should be arrested, including a Penfield High School band student. How ludicrous does that sound? I don't believe for 1 second that a Penfield High School band student should be arrested for this parking lot. I don't believe that anybody should be arrested for this parking lot. I'm the only American from Rochester, New York, to Sacramento, California, to be arrested for walking through this parking lot. How is that explained to the employees at the United States Department of Justice? How does your shiny bald head possibly explain that fanaticism? Fire Shannon Meyer. Here it is right here. That's it. What's that called? What's that called, Todd Baxter? What's it called that you bought with taxpayer dollars? What's that called? Because I called it a surveillance device, and your sick hacks, either Michael Radler, Kathleen Miller, Scott O'Berty, or William Tadeo, and his $101,000 Sally, call Lindsay Barrett, the Monroe County Office of Mental Health, to come to my residence to humiliate me. Because I used the phrase surveillance device and you bought it and fixed it to this building. Isn't that right, Elliot Roth? The only reason, the sole reason you say to me, Elliot, when I'm walking through this parking lot, Elliot, you're going to be arrested, is you know these psychopaths were there. And you don't come over to me and say, we may not agree on anything, but I just want to let you know these psychopaths are going to try to concoct a crime for you. Because as I've said to you numerous times now, Elliot, if the roles were reversed, I would immediately came over to where you lived at 26 Sanders Road Drive. Because I wouldn't want to see the fanatical cops descend on your life. You wanted the fanatical cops to descend on my life, Elliot. Where's your decency, Elliot? Welcome to your re-election defeat. Example after example after example, evidence after evidence after evidence. Welcome to your re-election defeat, Todd Baxter. The cost of taxpayers' photography session approved by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter photographed 10 public employees underwater in a pool. Welcome to your re-election defeat. How do you explain this? I've talked about this over and over and over now for 18 months, and the only thing I got from you and your bald head is just a training exercise, and that's a lie. Do whatever you want. Welcome to your re-election defeat, Todd Baxter. The cost of a hotel and plane ticket for Monroe County Sheriff employee Ryan Fisher to attend the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia on February 3rd, 2019 was canine dog Lola. As we get ready to watch the Super Bowl, we're grateful to the men and women assigned to keep fans and players safe in Atlanta, including MCSO and Deputy Ryan Fisher and K9 Lola. Deputy Fisher sent this photo from Atlanta. Thank you both for your service. That means your employee, Ryan Fisher, went up to somebody in Atlanta, Georgia, said, take my picture. I'm going to mail it back to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. And either $0 Michael Rather, Kathleen Miller, William Tadeo, or Scott O'Bernie is going to put this on a Twitter page and tweet about it. Here's the Todd Baxter tweet storm about Ryan Fisher being in Stars and Bars, Redneck, Atlanta, Georgia. How long did it take you, Ryan, to see Stars and Bars, Redneck flag of Georgia? Huh? You walked up to someone and said, take my picture. Is that right, Ryan? Are you still employed at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Because perhaps I missed it. Your salary doesn't leap out at me because I know about 50 plus salaries right off the top of my head. Use that cliche. Here he is with this ferocious look on his face. Ryan, are you going to run up a mountain in Afghanistan with the 82nd Airborne Division with this ferocious Rambo look on your face with your dog? Because here you are, I want everybody at the district attorney's office to see Rambo Ryan Fisher right here. Here's Rambo Ryan Fisher. Here he is. You can see his ferocious look there. I mean, look at that guy there. I mean, Ryan. I mean, you deserve a combat medal here for this ferocious look you have on your face with your canine dog, Lola. If you drink champagne, it tastes just like cherry cola. Did you sing that to beautiful Lola, Ryan? Because that dog is so beautiful. Who doesn't love a German Shepherd? And here we have the official flag of Ryan Fisher. This is your flag, Ryan, because you're in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm going to call this the Ryan Fisher flag, perhaps from now on, when I hold this up, because I love looking at this redneck Stars and Bars. Because when I was in the 101st with Fort Campbell, I would see these rednecks driving up and down 41A, which goes in front of the 101st. They'd be in there. It would be a cliche. They'd be in their red trucks. They'd be outside bars in the trucks drinking their Jack Daniels, and it would be Jack Daniels. So I'd see these rednecks in the trucks with the Jack Daniels, and they'd have the flag on their trucks. So Ryan, baby, how long did it take you to see this redneck Stars and Bars? Did you see a redneck in his truck drinking Jack Daniels? How ridiculously cliched is that? Because I have seen that exact thing. And so did my roommates. Because, pardon me, I'm trying not to laugh. There's nothing funny about what you're doing to me and what you have done to me and what you continue to do to me. It's the flag of New York. I worked in the Capitol. I look at it. Excelsior forever high. You ever hire at the district attorney's office? The answer is no. You ever hire at the sheriff's office? The answer is no. What are the physical training standards or requirements at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office of Todd Baxter? You have none, but you have, Todd the fascist stooge, employees that are overweight. It's a total disgrace. Tell your employees Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to get out there at 6 a.m., every single one of them, push-ups and sit-ups, minimum of 40 each, 2-mile run. Everybody does it. It's completed in an hour. That guarantees your employees are at least in minimal shape. That's not going to do it. If you're an athlete and a runner and a bicyclist and a swimmer and tens of millions of people are engaged in these activities, then you know how to do it. But at least your employees are physically active, and that will help control their weight. Employee after employee is overweight because they're eating gummy bears. See, I love these gummies. I bought these at Target, which is not in your headquarters. See, it says Market Pantry and gummy bears. This is only 99 cents. But see, your employee, he goes to Wegmans. This is your headquarters here, Todd. Wegmans is your headquarters. Do you understand me, Todd, baby? Right here, like this whack job here. I'm going up to Wegmans. I'm going into Goldsham at Fairport. And here she comes. There you see her sign. Here she is. Here she is driving right by me. This is my Pulitzer Prize winning money shot here. You got that? There's your whack job driving right by your headquarters. I couldn't have photoshopped this better. So did she buy some Wegmans vanilla ice cream? You see, I ate that whole thing. I ate this thing in like 5 minutes. I love this. And I ate these gummy bears from Target. You see, so I can eat gummy bears and ice cream, and I'm still going to be in great shape. So what I want to know, Todd, this is what your whack job does. She drives up and down Penfield Road all day long doing nothing. And then she goes and parks over here next to Target. I'm not exaggerating. This is what she does. This is exactly what she does in your other employees. This is what they do. They drive up and down Penfield Road. Uh-oh, nothing's going on. I can't just sit here and if someone's going 10 miles an hour over a legitimate function of law enforcement to ticket speeding drivers, instead of being there on Penfield Road with the gun, that's legitimate. I'm not talking about a speed trap. Nailing speeders. This employee went over here to this side of the room because she was there. I saw her come outside. Sat there and your employees were there. Well, I haven't seen them in the last few months because of what I'm doing to you on YouTube. And I have my phone. I'm walking over. I'm thinking, please let them be over there so I can get the money shot like this. What she does, I'm going to try not to laugh because this is what they do. And my friend that I sometimes will walk over to Wegmans to Target with, we've seen them do this. What is the public relations view when the people, the customers, the employees at Wegmans walk outside and they see your fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths, your employees there all the time? She will leave here, drive around here, drive parallel to Penfield Road, drive over to Target, and then drive around behind Target, then drive behind Wegmans and drive in a circle. She's driving around in circles. Your employees will do this. You are such a joke, a disgrace, driving around in circles. How ludicrous does that sound? How ridiculous does that sound? Your employees drive around in circles. They park at Wegmans, in front of Wegmans, over to Target, in front of Target, driving around the back of Target, driving around the back of Wegmans, driving around in circles. Joke, a disgrace, an abomination. Speaking of a joke, a disgrace, an abomination. The day in your Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter rehired Michael Rather after his 20-year career with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office ended. You're paid $0 on the payroll. Michael Rather, right there. Everyone, the salary starts. The first one is Jamie P. Brown, $54,839. The last one is Jamie M. Wagner, $51,2017. And there you are, $0. I'm waiting for your psychopaths to start screaming on the door, banging on my front door, banging on the sliding glass door. I'm going to send that to the United States Department of Justice. The employees of the United States Department of Justice are going to agree immediately that you are an animal, Todd Baxter. And you employ animals, just like $0 Michael Rather. You don't pay anything. You, Michael Rather, paid $0 to be an official animal to Monroe County Sheriff's Office. The name charge of every inmate at Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter's jail from January 2018 to February 2021. Name charge. What do you not understand? What do you fail to understand? And you do fail to understand. It's a public facility. Who's at your public facility? Name and charge is that simple, and you will refuse. Give me a name, Sandra Doorley. The first of two names. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester with John P. Lenzer Jr. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Total silence. How am I delivered to jail? When the prosecutor doesn't talk, I'm delivered to jail as an innocent man. Freedom of information law. Documentation for the case for Christopher Chichester with Paul C. Metz from Pemberton Town Court. What is the name of the prosecutor, Sandra Doorley? Total silence. This 5'2", 3-piece suit boy walks up to Paula Metzler, gives her a little piece of paper. I don't know what's on it. She declares me guilty. I'm in Livingston County Jail. I've said this over and over and over. If you're not watching, watch it. What am I doing in Livingston County, Paula Metzler? When you're asked by the United States Department of Justice, Paula C. Metzler, what is Christopher Chichester doing in Livingston County? When you're asked Sandra Doorley by the United States Department of Justice, what is Christopher Chichester doing in Livingston County? When you're asked Todd Baxter by the United States Department of Justice, what is Christopher Chichester doing in Livingston County? What is the response as I've lived in Monroe County for 9 years? None of these questions can be answered. You refuse to comply with every one. Why Shannon Meyer? This is it right here. Accusatory instrument. Am I New York's 4,000-time criminal? That the defendant? I'm a defendant on a piece of paper. Get rid of this document. How is an innocent American anywhere in the United States of America a defendant on a piece of paper? That the defendant on the above location, approximately 1440 hours, did not only enter, remain unlawfully upon the premises 2041 Penfield, New York, but walk through the park line being told by certified mail and police that he's not allowed on the property. Dr. Gloria Nichols never ran off to use psychopaths, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, about me walking through his parking lot, because people walk through his parking lot all day long. Shannon Meyer could walk through his parking lot without being arrested. Why? Is she a specially protected American? Don Benedetto, instead of hiding in the bushes across my residence, could walk through his parking lot. Is he a specially protected American? Andrew Reale charges me with harassment. Second, I'm not harassing him. Could walk through his parking lot without being arrested. Why? You have to answer these questions when I contact the United States Department of Justice. Just like you'll have to answer why are you coming to my residence? Demand my dog, my little guy that was with me for 8 years, that I adopted from Lollipop Farm Humane Society. I was asked at Lollipop Farm Humane Society when I went there with my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, about my experience, my employment, my charitable acts, my education. Because you have to establish a character to adopt a dog. And if I wanted to go back to Lollipop and adopt another dog, I wouldn't pass the background check because of what you've done to me. I want to adopt another dog because my little guy died on July 21st. And I am in fear now that I'll have to be answered. I'll have to answer questions about these disgusting concoctions about your sick descent of my life. Because it's a public record what's happened to me. They could go to a database and find out what's happened to me. I'm guessing. I don't know that for sure. Because it's a public proceeding. Penfield Town Court's a public proceeding. It's a record of me. This is disgusting, nauseating collection of documents for what you have done to me, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, bald-headed wig-wearing Paula Metzer in Penfield Town Court, and 70-year-old John P. Metzer Jr. in Penfield Town Court. This is the first time I appeared in Penfield Town Court. Criminal contempt. He didn't even know what the charge was, this fossil. He looks down at a piece of paper, Christopher Chichester, you charged with trespass. I interrupted him. I said, that's not the concocted charge. I wish I had this in front of me. I said to Lomenzo, it's criminal contempt. And then I said, for standing in the corner of a parking lot, you have no idea what was going on. He sentenced me to jail anyway. So, Lee LaRoque, Paul Metzer, if you're not watching, I'm going to reiterate these things. These are your blue gloves, you psychopath. Lee LaRoque paid $91,000 to be in Penfield Town Court. You, Paul Metzer, this is not a search warrant, Paul Metzer. You type this document that says search warrant. That's not a search warrant, Penfield Town Court. Do you understand what I'm accusing you of, Paul Metzer? I'm accusing you of manufacturing a fraudulent document. This is a fraudulent document, Paul Metzer, because it's not a search warrant. It won't pass the laugh test at the United States Department of Justice. It wouldn't pass the laugh test for any attorney that looks at it because it doesn't have a number on it. Documents, especially a search warrant to get into the residence of an American citizen, have identifying markers. It says no identifying marker. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Paul Metzer, do you understand what I'm accusing you of? I'm accusing you of a crime. This YouTube's at 28 minutes. I'm waiting for your psychopaths to arrive. Todd Baxter. You know, Todd, if your psychopaths arrive, is it going to be one of these guys that's underwater? Is it going to be one of you psychopaths here underwater in a pool? Is it going to be Ryan Fisher screaming my name and pounding on my door like a psychopath? What did you think about that YouTube I called Hatred, Todd Baxter? You will have to answer why you're unleashing your criminals upon me. You're a criminal, Todd Baxter. You employ individuals that lose their minds at the home of an innocent citizen. I'm attached to another residence. My excellent friend lives next to me with his mother and father. The walls were shaking. The walls were shaking in that residence that's attached to me because of the ferocity with which your psychopaths were pounding on my front door. And then when they were screaming my name, the neighbors across from Sanders Farm Drive, Todd Baxter, your neighbors are behind the residence over here, behind these trees. Here's the street to Sanders Farm Drive. They were screaming my name with such fanaticism behind the residence that across the street, the neighbor across the street, his residence, heard them. Them, because there was 10 plus of them. He's the guy that told me that there were at least 10 of them here. 10 of you were here for me. So he heard them screaming from the backyard, and he also saw them pounding on my front door. How do you think you're going to survive the election? Do you know that he votes? We talked at length about what happens to me, and the language that's communicated, it's different language. The point that's communicated to me over and over and over is I've never seen the police behave like that, because you employ animals, Todd Baxter, you employ fanatics, degenerates, sociopaths, psychopaths, and what's their names? This is where there's no accountability for your bald head. That guy is screaming my name. He's the one that in all likelihood led your disgusting employees here. What's his name? You refuse to tell me. He is screaming my name. What's the guy that's screaming my name? What's the guy's name that's banging on my door? Because the guy that's screaming my name is going on simultaneously. He's screaming my name. There's a guy banging on the front door. This is going on simultaneously. So what's the name of the guy screaming my name? What's the name of the guy banging on the front door? And you refuse to answer every single time. You refuse to answer because there's no accountability for your bald head and your criminal employees. So, illicit, not legally permitted, unlawful, disapproved of, or not permitted for moral, unethical reasons. You are immoral and unethical, and you are illicit, both at the district attorney's office and sheriff's office. There's no doubt about that. So, Michael Radler at the Jonestown of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Did you see, Michael, that I had a foil here? That's called the Freedom of Information Law. The key word is law. Here, I'm going to read this one again just for you, Michael Radler. Today in your Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter hired Michael Radler for a 20-year career with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. You're not even paid 25 cents. You need some money? I could give you 25 cents and it was still 1980. You could go buy a gumball with this 25 cents. This quarter, this 25 pennies I have in my hand is 25 pennies more than what you're paid at your Jonestown. How do you answer that question? When I contact the controller of New York with a series of questions just about you, and the controller says, what do you do with the Monroe County Sheriff's Office for $0? And why does Todd Baxter employ you for $0? What's the reason? You know, people like Todd Baxter like to have a court gesture around. They like to have a number 2 around for entertainment. Is that you, Michael Radler? Because your Johnny Carson had Ed McMahon, who was the court jester of The Tonight Show. Are you the court jester of the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Is it your job, just like Ed McMahon did with Johnny Carson, to laugh at Todd Baxter's jokes? If Todd Baxter makes the worst joke in the history of Western civilization that no one would laugh at, do you $0 Michael Radler fall down on the floor and laugh? Is that your job, to laugh at Todd Baxter's jokes just like Ed McMahon laughed at the great Johnny Carson? You know, Todd, when your whack job showed up to take my little guy here, all I'm doing is walking my dog same way for 7 years and 4,000 times, and anything else screaming at me at the front door. What I'd like to know, Todd, was it the individual, because there was 2 of them, 2 there at the front door, and with the animal control individual with a 10-foot pole for my little guy. Yeah, you heard that right. 10-foot pole for my Shih Tzu, my wonderful little guy. Was it Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee O.J. Simpson showing up at my residence? Because, Todd, O.J. here, he could be having some illicit thoughts here. Look at the look on O.J.'s face. I mean, look at your employee here, Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee O.J. Simpson, because he looks illicit in this photograph. I did not laugh. So, Todd, afraid to open your mail when I was managing payroll. Elliot Ross, afraid to open mail. Elliot, I'm walking through the parking lot for 4,000 times. Elliot, who told you I was getting arrested? Elliot, I will tell the United States Department of Justice, you're not watching, that Shannon Meyer told you I was to be arrested, because that's your exact language, and you don't even know this is a sick lunatic fringe, Elliot. You don't know this is a sick lunatic fringe because you're the sick lunatic fringe allowing that camera to be placed on that building. Steve Desmond, this is the guy you use from Broccola Train Long K. Isn't that right, Albert and Lori Broccola? Isn't that right, psychopath Deb Bridges? This Deb Bridges goes berserk because I'm copying. When I use your name, Albert and Lori, I copy you. And then I get an email from this Deb Bridges losing her mind. This is your employee. That's why you get it, Deb Bridges. This is why you get it, Albert and Lloyd Broccolo. Todd Baxter used this civilian Steve Desmond. Here he is walking with his phone in his hand. He knows he wants me to come out and read Steve Desmond. This guy here, you use the civilian, this weed whacking, grass cutting loser to get to my residence. You understand, Todd Baxter? This guy here was used by Shannon Meyer. How often do you use a civilian in the concoction of a crime for an innocent citizen? This guy, John Clemenzo Jr., I'm demanding a list of his cases, bald-headed, wig-wearing Paul Metzer. Here he is. Was his hand shaking when he wrote refused to open his mail? Nayraj Shah, walking my dog every day for 7 years on land that has no ownership. And here you psychopaths are, Todd Baxter, demanding my little guy on land that has no ownership. I'm looking for the phony title that these psychopaths send me because it's not a title. Here you are. Why don't you just call me, Todd Baxter, instead of showing up to demand my little guy? Why don't you just call me? I'm looking for the phony title. Got a momentary delay here on our UHF channel. And there's the phony title. I'm sorry for the momentary delay. That's it. And that's nothing. Timothy Murphy, the Monroe County Office of Real Property, can't confirm it. They own nothing. And since they own nothing, since nobody owns this land, since there's no documentation to prove it, it's not a crime for me to walk outside and say nobody owns that land. Because this psychopath's 50-year-old Nayraj Shah living with a 70-plus-year-old mother is not a title. So since nobody owns that land, it's not a crime for me to walk outside and say, guess what? Nobody owns that land. Even if they can prove they own it, which they don't, that's not a crime for me to walk outside and say nobody owns that land. You had a sick lunatic fringe again, Nayraj Shah. Again, Nayraj Shah again. Layla Kumar Shah's mommy again. Layla Kumar Shah refused every time. Layla Kumar Shah refused every time. Michael Radler, the $0 employee. This is when I was demanding the payroll, and you, Michael Radler, refused. Prove you own that land. Nayraj Shah, I'm not just putting this mail. Certified mail, Elliot Roth. This guy, Elliot Roth, afraid to open his mail. Nayraj Shah, you don't own that land. No man limit his mind. Elliot, who told me I was going to be arrested. I will tell the United States Department of Justice that Shannon Meyer told you that she was going to descend on me with this despicable, sick, disgusting concoction for me. Elliot, you're going to get this again. Elliot, sign for it when it comes to you. Because I'm using your name at the Department of Justice. And you, Nayraj, you're getting it too. This Paul C. Metzler is trying to send me back to jail because I sent this guy an email. He was on the email, the same email as the sheriff office, district attorney's office, and that's why psychopaths will go that in. How do you explain to the United States Department of Justice, Paul C. Metzler, bald-headed, wig-wearing psychopath, that you're trying to send me to jail because this guy was on an email? Elliot again. Elliot refuses. Steve Desmond is a civilian again, multiple times for each. Civilian again. You use this weed-whacking, grass-cutting loser, Albert and Lori Broccolo. This is your employee. I'm going to be in contact with him relentlessly over and over and over. Here's John P. Clemenzo Jr. I was demanding a list of his cases, rejected. He did the full Hannibal Lecter. This is what this hack did, Paul C. Metzler. Your predecessor went nuts. He attacked this envelope. I said I'm demanding a list of his cases. I would have liked to have been in his house when he went berserk on this envelope, where he looks at my name up here and he decides to go to his kitchen table, I guess, in his residence. He takes out his magic marker and then he goes berserk on that envelope there. So, Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This is registered mail return receipt. I'm going to be demanding information from you relentlessly, including everything I just read to you in the Freedom of Information Law. Everything I just read to you is going to be demanded from you again, and you're going to be signing for all this. Certified mail. This is going to come back to me. You're going to get this. This is going to come back to me. Your signature. Pay attention, Paul C. Metzler. I will never go into Penfield Town Court. If I'm in front of you, Paul C. Metzler, I will be screaming at you in the most ferocious way possible with the most ferocious sound that my body can admit, because I've never committed a crime. That's exactly what I'm going to do to you, Paul Metzler. And the reason why I repeat that word ferocious is that's the word, that's the appropriate word to use. I'll be screaming at you and over you relentlessly, Paul Metzler, if I'm in there in Penfield Town Court. I don't care what the consequences are. I don't care about being held in contempt. And where's the jury, you bald-headed, wig-wearing psychopath? Sandra Doorley, where's the jury in Penfield Town Court? Todd Baxter, where's the jury in Penfield Town Court? What would you think Todd Baxter, Kevin Baxter, exactly Baxter, had to go into this Soviet Union show trial and be in front of Paul C. Metzler, James P. Melley Jr., John P. Lomenzo Jr. before Paul C. Metzler, and then Kevin Baxter, Baxter is just declared guilty? You would conclude that's the lunatic fringe. And you can identify with the lunatic fringe, District Attorney Sandra Doorley and Sheriff Todd Baxter, because you are the lunatic fringe.